Hi, welcome to Reading Explorer Foundations, Unit 5, Reading B, The Disease Detective. Today we have a video in a video and some fun activities to do before we get to our reading. Let's get started. Before you read. Bacteria are so small, you need a microscope to see them. E. coli is a type of bacteria that can be found in both animals and humans. Many strains of E. coli won't hurt you, but some can make you very ill or cause death. Let's take a look at these bold words that are mango colored. Which word means kinds or groups of bacteria? The word is strains. Which word means sick? Yeah, it's the word ill. Which word means a kind of very small living thing? Those are bacteria. Which word means a machine that allows humans to view very small things? That is a microscope. Take a look at this man. His name is Nathan Wolfe. We're going to read a paragraph about him now. Pay attention to the words in bold. You will hear them in the video. Nathan Wolfe is a scientist who studies viruses. A virus is very small. It lives inside other creatures like bacteria, plants, animals, and people. Some viruses are deadly and can kill. Many diseases caused by viruses are difficult to cure, but we can prevent them from getting into our bodies. In today's globalized world, scientists in different countries can work together more easily to help sick people. But viruses can also spread more quickly than ever. Do you recognize these words in bold? Which word means to stop something before it happens? Another word means very dangerous, able to cause death. Another word means to increase and happen over a greater area. A fourth word means to make a sick person completely well again. And a fifth word means to cause death. Grab a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. I will give you 1 minute to write the answers from numbers 1 to 5, starting now. How'd you do? Let's check your answers. Which word means to stop something before it happens? That's the word prevent. Which word means very dangerous, able to cause death? This is the word deadly. Which word means to increase and happen over a greater area? The word spread. Which word means to make a sick person completely well again? The word cure. Which word means to cause death? The word kill. Let's take a look at this week's video in a video.
Viruses are diseases that move quickly, killing millions of people. These tiny creatures get into a person's blood and make many copies of themselves. Can diseases like these be prevented? Scientist Nathan Wolfe thinks they can. He leads a group of scientists who are searching for clues that could save lives. Viruses are found everywhere, from humans to the smallest creatures. So, where do they come from? Studies have shown that most deadly human viruses first started in other animals, like apes, before moving to humans. Wolf wants to find out how these viruses get into humans. So he's studying people who still eat meat from wild animals. He hopes this will help him stop the viruses before they spread to too many people. Wolf is working with a group of scientists and doctors from all over the world. Each one is an expert in his or her own country. They call their group the Global Viral Forecasting Initiative. The group believes that viruses spread best in warm places, where people live closely with different types of animals. The warmer a place is, says Wolf, the more different types of plants and animals can live there. This means there may also be more types of viruses. If the scientists do find more viruses there, they will study the people living in those areas closely. They want to stop the viruses before they can move into humans. Wolf believes this work is very important right now because the world is becoming more globalized. This means viruses can spread to different countries and across the world more quickly. If a deadly virus begins to spread, people all over the world will be in danger. The work that Wolf and his team are doing right now is not easy, but they hope it will help animals and humans live together safely in the future.
Wow! I sure am grateful for the work this team of scientists is doing. Nathan Wolf and his team study how viruses move from animals or plants into people. Did you catch that? If you don't remember, you can go back and watch the video again. The answer is animals. Number 2. According to the video, people who eat uncooked food or wild animals are more likely to get sick from viruses. Do you remember which is correct? Wild animals, that's right. Let's look at number 3. Wolf's team believes that many diseases started in a warm place or in a cold place. Do you remember? They believe many diseases started in a warm place. And finally, number 4. That's a nice image, isn't it? According to the video, if a deadly virus begins to spread, the whole world, or people living close to animals, will be in danger. Which is correct? Well, the video says if a deadly virus begins to spread, the whole world will be in danger. Well done. Time for today's main reading, The Disease Detective. Here are today's language targets. Expert, disease, microscope, E. coli, and they had all eaten. Let's start the reading with paragraphs 1 and 2. 6 children were in the hospital. They were very sick, but the doctors didn't know what to do. They called Dr. Richard Besser, an expert on strange illnesses. Dr. Besser knew just what to do: finding a cause. First, Dr. Besser needed to find the cause of the illness. He used a microscope to look for germs like bacteria in the children's bodies. Dr. Besser found that all the children had a strain of the bacteria E. coli. Then he looked at the bacteria's DNA. The DNA showed him that this strain of E. coli was dangerous to humans. Well, we have quite a few language targets in this paragraph. The words expert, microscope, E. coli, and disease. A disease or an illness is something that makes you sick. Let's look at the word expert first. An expert is a person who is among the best at what they do. Now, I don't want to say the best, because really, there is a certain group of people who are the best. We call these people the experts. It takes years of study to become an expert in the field of medicine. It takes years of practice to become an expert at making videos. I should know. How long does it take to become a golf expert? Pro golfers will tell you it takes a lifetime. Being an expert mechanic is not easy. Look at the way this woman holds the hammer. She's using just the right amount of pressure. Art experts are able to demand top dollar for their services. Let's practice. An expert is a person who is among the best at what they do. What fields or activities would you like to be an expert in? A disease is an illness or sickness. You might not think so, but the flu is a disease. Most people recover from the flu. Some diseases are more serious than others. For example, monkeypox is considered a more serious disease. Its symptoms include an irritating rash. Plants can get diseases too. Liver disease is very serious. It can be caused by poor diet or poisoning. Arthritis is a common disease that can be painful, but not deadly. Let's practice. A disease is an illness or sickness. Can you use the language target to make a sentence about this image? Here's my sentence. Radiologists look at the X-ray for signs of disease in the patient's brain. A microscope is a scientific tool that's used for viewing tiny objects. And there it is. This is a compound microscope. Microscopes are used in laboratories and universities to observe objects that are too small to be seen with the naked eye. Microscopes haven't always looked like this. The first microscope was invented in 1665 by a man named Robert Hooke. Imagine how important the invention of the microscope was. Before the microscope, no one knew what tiny insects look like. We sure do now. Microscopes are used to study bacteria and other tiny objects, including living creatures. Let's practice. A microscope is a scientific tool used for viewing tiny objects. What is something that can only be seen through a microscope? E. coli is a type of bacteria that lives in the intestines of humans and animals. Some strains of E. coli are not harmful. E. coli that is harmful to humans usually comes from crops that have touched animal feces. That means poop. Symptoms of harmful E. coli include stomach pain, vomiting, fatigue, fever, and diarrhea. E. coli can also come from uncooked meat or vegetables that have touched animal poop. Most people recover from E. coli in about 5 to 10 days. The best ways to prevent the spread of E. coli are to clean and cook your food really well before you eat it, and to wash your hands every time you go to the bathroom and before every meal. Let's practice. E. coli is a type of bacteria that lives in the intestines of humans and animals. Remember, not all E. coli is harmful to humans. What have you learned about E. coli so far in today's lesson? Germs are microorganisms that cause disease, and the word microorganism means tiny living thing. Washing your hands is one of the best ways to prevent the spread of germs. Dangerous means able or likely to cause harm. You should never look at your phone while riding your bike. It's too dangerous. Paragraphs 3 and 4. Where did it come from? Dr. Besser knew E. coli could move from animals to humans. Perhaps the children had touched animals that carried the bacteria. Besser found other E. coli cases in the area where the children lived, but it wasn't enough. Besser then made a list of what the sick children had eaten. They had all eaten cheese, apple juice, and fish. He then made a list of what healthy children in the area had eaten and compared his lists. They had eaten the cheese and fish, but not the apple juice. Okay, so based on paragraphs 3 and 4, I will ask you to make an inference about what caused the sickness. Take a moment and pause the video and make your inference now. The word perhaps means maybe, and this word is used to show that something is uncertain or possible. Perhaps something exciting will happen if we press the red button. Perhaps not. The word touch means to join or meet, or to be in contact with. What was the last thing you touched? The last thing I touched was my keyboard. A list is a number or series of items that are written down. Here is an example of what a grocery list might look like. When was the last time you made a list? Okay, let's take a look at this language target. They had eaten. Now, normally I don't do this, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to teach you a little grammar. They had eaten is an expression using past perfect tense. Let me explain this for you now so that you understand it once and for all. In the English language, the concept of time is very important. Let's say that this line represents time. The center of the line is the present moment. Now, anything to the right of this line is in the future. Anything that happens to the left of the line is in the past. When we use past perfect tense, we are describing an activity or event that happened in the past. This event is completed because it's in the past. But past perfect tense describes two activities. Let's say this completed activity is that the children ate. Now we need another activity that happened after this completed activity and before now. Let's say this second activity is they got sick. When I use simple past tense, I would say the children ate and then they got sick. But past perfect tense sounds like this. They had all eaten before they got sick. Or they had all eaten by the time they got sick. Get it? Let's practice. Past perfect tense describes one activity that happened in the past, before another. Remember, to use past perfect tense, you must use the word had. Let's make a sentence in past perfect tense that describes this picture. You try first, and then I'll go. The bus had already left by the time Joe arrived at the bus stop. Paragraphs 5 and 6. Case closed. Besser went to where the apple juice was made. He saw that there were animals around the apple trees, and he saw the workers using dirty apples that had fallen on the ground. More importantly, he saw that the apples were not washed before the juice was made, and that the juice was not heated. Doing these things would kill the bacteria. Besser then knew it was the apple juice that had made the children sick. Besser's E. coli case has a happy ending. The children got better. And what Besser learned that day now helps keep others safe. We have 2 vocabulary words in this paragraph, but before we look at those, can you find all the sentences in these 2 paragraphs that use past perfect tense? The word dirty means made unclean. Who made all these dirty dishes? And the word kill means to cause the death of a living thing. To make dead. What probably killed this mosquito? Nice work! You finished the reading. Let's check out today's discussion questions. Discussion question number 1. Have you or has anyone you know ever been infected with E. coli? I bet I probably know someone who has been infected with E. coli. I've been sick plenty of times, but I don't think I've ever had E. coli. How about you? How can you help prevent the spread of E. coli infections? The best way to prevent the spread of E. coli infections is to stay clean. Wash your hands regularly. Make sure you clean your food and make sure you cook it very well. If you do those 3 things, there's a very good chance you will be safe from E. coli. Imagine someone is in your kitchen cooking your family a meal. You see that they don't wash their hands or clean the food they are preparing. What do you say to them? Ooh, this is a tricky question. If someone was preparing my family a meal, I would be very happy. That saves me a lot of time and energy. But it is important that my family is healthy and that we get clean food. If I saw what's being described here, I would offer to help in the kitchen. First, I would invite the cook to wash their hands with me as I got ready to help. Then I would make sure that the food was all clean. What would you do or say in this situation? Let's check out the critical thinking questions. How can the use of microscopes help fight disease? That's a good question, isn't it? Put on your thinking cap. I'll let you answer this question first. Although scientists don't use microscopes to fight diseases directly, they can be used to learn about diseases. This is because microscopes allow us to see things that are tiny, including microorganisms like germs and bacteria. By getting a good look at these creatures, scientists can learn more about them. And by learning about diseases, scientists are able to better understand how to fight diseases. Is E. coli good bacteria or bad bacteria? Explain. Well, this is kind of a trick question. I don't know if there's any such thing as good or bad bacteria. There is bacteria that is helpful to humans and harmful to humans or other living creatures. E. coli is an interesting type of bacteria because it's inside of you, in me, and inside animals. It's not always harmful. But a key point to remember is that if your hands are dirty, or the food that you're eating is dirty or not cooked properly, then you could be exposed to harmful E. coli, and that's not good. Time for today's reading skill. Today's reading skill is identifying the purpose of a paragraph. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with author's purpose, okay? To persuade, inform, or entertain. That's not what we're talking about here. Identifying the purpose of a paragraph helps you understand the organization of a passage. The first line of a paragraph and its heading, if it has one, can give you clues about its purpose. These purposes can include to introduce a topic, to ask or answer a question, to give an example, to describe a problem, to give data and statistics, that means information, to list a sequence of actions, to give a conclusion, or to describe a solution. So remember, the author's purpose for writing a book, passage, or article is a broad general purpose, but every single paragraph that makes up what the author has written has its own purpose as well. Let's practice and you'll see what I mean. Look back at the photo and caption on page 70. You can see that photo here. And there's the caption. Identify the purpose or purposes of the information in the caption. Well, let's read this caption again just to get a refresher. Bacteria are so small, you need a microscope to see them. E. coli is a type of bacteria that can be found in both animals and humans. Many strains of E. coli won't hurt you, but some can make you very ill or cause death. So, what is the purpose of this paragraph? Is it to introduce a topic? To give statistics? To help explain a photo? To ask a question? To give a definition? Or to provide facts? Or is it a combination of these? I'll give you a moment to write down your answers and then we'll review them together, okay? How'd you do? Let's check your answers. Does this caption introduce a topic? Why, yes, it does. It introduces the topic of E. coli. Does this paragraph or caption give statistics? Nope. Does this paragraph help explain a photo? Why, yes, it does. Does this paragraph ask a question? Nope, again. Does this paragraph give a definition? Yes, because it tells us what E. coli is. It is a type of bacteria, right? Does this paragraph provide facts? You know it does. Time for today's homework. And for homework, as usual, I have made you a wonderful, beautiful, super duper worksheet. And it looks like this. You get to be a scientist and an investigator today as you do your Identifying Paragraph Purpose worksheet. To do this worksheet, you need to be able to read the paragraphs in 5B, the disease detective. If you don't have a copy of this reading, just use the text that I showed you in today's video as we did the reading together. Okay? That's all for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around. The retelling and writing video is coming up next.